Fly FM.
What the Fly?
Fly FM. Taking you places.
Welcome to What the Fly with your girl Asekhona Ngwane. We are back for yet another exciting episode. Asekhona today. Sino Sakhile Zungu from GNG, which is Generation what?
G.
Okay, and we are Generation Z. So, Ikole Boge today. Sakhile, thank you for coming and making time for What the Fly. So, tell us more about Generation G.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and hi to your viewers. Okay, my name is Sakhile Zungu. I come from an organization called ActionAid South Africa, based in Johannesburg, Rosebank, and we work in 7 provinces in the country. So to tell you a bit more about Generation G, we are in a partnership with 2 other organizations in a project called Generation G, or Generation Gender, Gen G for short. The 2 organizations are Activate Change Drivers and Sonke Gender Justice. So those are the 2 organizations that we partner with. And in this particular project, we work in 3 provinces: Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Eastern Cape. This Generation G project is in 7 countries. So we have partners, global partners in Rwanda, Uganda, Morocco, Jordan, Lebanon, and Indonesia. I think I might be forgetting one country, South Africa being, of course, one of the countries that are there. In this global initiative, what we're trying to do is to build violence-free societies. We also advocate for gender equality and gender justice in terms of the work that we do. And we deal with quite a lot of gender-based violence programs in the 3 provinces that we're working in the country. Yeah. So that's in a short synopsis of what Generation G is about.
Okay, so you are talking about GBV.
Yes.
So can you just but has an idea, obviously, what is GBV, and can you just tell us more about that?
Yeah. So, for many people, in terms of also past programs and references, of course, many people would identify gender-based violence as maybe a women's program or speaks to girls, because also in terms of when we review stats, we talk much about femicide, which is murder of maybe a woman by the intimate partner, which in most cases is a male.
Okay.
And most of the time when we talk about gender-based violence, we speak from that particular perspective. But however, gender-based violence speaks about violence against any particular gender, where you experience violence because of the gender that you are. You could be male, you could be female, you could be non-binary. But when you experience violence because basically of your gender, that is when we engage issues of gender-based violence. And we know, living in South Africa, we live in a very violent society or community. And we then, in terms of our project, work in the most violent societies or communities. You would know when we see the stats from SAPS. The top 10 or the top 80 most violent communities would include Inanda. We work in Inanda. Would include areas like Orange Farm. We work in Orange Farm. Would include areas like Mthatha. We work in Mthatha as well. Butterworth, Ituchwa. Areas like Tembisa, Katlehong. We work in all of those areas where there's prevalence of violence, where we engage. And maybe to try and unpack a bit. The project itself, in terms of its objective, is mobilizing young people to fight against gender-based violence. Exactly. We also work on policy issues that relate to young people, and obviously in terms of trying to combat gender-based violence, policies that engage on such matters. And we also work with civil society as a whole, civil society, or what people will term NGO, non-government organizations, or CBOs, community-based organizations. We also work with youth-led organizations quite a lot. So we try to encourage youth-led organizations or organizations that are started by young people
Yeah.
to participate or be part of our program, where we also offer capacity building, strengthening, try and also train them on meaningful inclusive youth participation, meaning that it's not about just having young people in the room, but it's about having young people as decision makers in the room, and trying to capacitate them so that they are able to participate in the highest
In
levels
terms of
decision making. Yes.
In terms of like policy making.
Yes. Yes, we do policy making work or do work on policies.
Okay.
Quite a lot on the NSP GPV, which is the National Strategic Plan on GPV. And there are 6 pillars. We try and work on the 6 pillars and try and create awareness.
Okay.
And also to try and get office barriers to account in terms of what government is doing on issues related to GBV. And in that particular space, we are equipping young people with those skills. So it's not us asking the questions, but it's young people asking the question, being aware of what the functions of government are in relation to different issues that affect young people.
Okay.
And then obviously they are able to take up and ask for officials to account, but at the same time they are able to take up positions of power and make decisions, because we want young people to make decisions and not necessarily to be beneficiary of decisions that are not made by them. Yes.
Okay, so how can we be a part of those decision makings in terms of policies? Sintola kanjani? Because I know there are a lot of activists ngaphandle, the viewers and everyone mhlawumbe khona oqalayo nokuzwa ngegeneration G and is like, okay, I'm interested in this, I want to be a part of it. So how can I be a part of Generation G?
Okay, so in the provinces that we're functioning in, so the 3 provinces in the main, Eastern Cape, KZN and Gauteng, we have provincial structures. So in these, there's something called the Generation G network. So basically we've built a network of civil society, youth groups. So it's not necessarily just people in organizations, but people who work within their own community in any format, whether in a formalized setting, meaning an organization that is structured, or in informal structure where you and a few people are doing some work or something. You are able to then connect with our local structures, and then they are able to facilitate you becoming a member or participating within that space. You can also find us on our socials. So there is Sonke Gender Justice on WhatsApp, Facebook, and all the different platforms, social media platforms. As well as ActionAid South Africa, and as well as Activate Change Drivers. So you can type those names as they are.
We are going to
on any of the socials. You'll find them. Then you can just send us a message that you want to be part of the Generation G network, and we'll then facilitate that process for you.
Okay, because this is still what the fly with Asekhona. Okay, Sakhile is talking about a little bit of GBV, and we have been seeing in the headlines mhlambe like uMihlali and her ex-boyfriend kwenzeka lezi zinto lezi ze GBV, apparently alleged ukuthi the boyfriend was beating uMihlali up, and we've been seeing on social media uMohale, the ex-husband of Pusomizi Mhlongo, and it's always going to be the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm a reporter while still in the marriage or the relationship. Basho after. So Sakhile, can you talk about that? Ukuthi iyakholeka yini leyo nto lena noma kuhamba kanjani, if it's just like going to be after the whole situationship and then masenizo reporter after? How does it work?
So in at first I don't want to comment on the on the celebrities and the reports that are confirmed or not confirmed.
Alleged,
because it muddies the waters a bit. So, but in a sense, what I would say is that every police station by law should have a victim empowerment center, so where you are able to go to the police station and be able to open a case in relation to your matter. There are also organizations, even such as ourselves, that support victims in that process. In fact, we are working on an app, a Generation G app, which we are calling Gen G Engage. It's in the process. In fact, we are in the live testing phase. Basically, when we say live testing, is that you can actually download it on your phone.
What?
And we are just testing if it's working out.
So we've got an app.
Yes, we do. We'll be probably launching that in the next couple of weeks.
I hope what the fly is
months.
invited.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely share an invite. So in that particular app, what you can do is you can load your case on the app, and what we can do in terms of that is that track in terms of the case from where it starts, and also offer support in terms of understanding what steps you need to take when engaging that particular issue. The most important thing that I can advise in terms of all kind of situations is that it's always best to report and not necessarily to have a conversation after the fact, because it always muddies the water. But we also understand that for many reasons people have challenges with reporting, from dependency issues, being dependent on the perpetrator. There are all of those different elements that always exist within such cases. But in terms of the program that we want to do, or what that we are doing, it's working with communities in order to change the social norms and the social context within society, so that we become a lesser violent community, resorting less to infringing the rights of others, or resorting less in terms of harming each other, but also getting into conversations about issues that we might be facing, whether in relationships, whether in family setups, whatever the setup may be. There are always positive ways of engaging on issues that might arise within those spaces. So we are looking at those factors, and we are, in terms of the project that we're working in, not forgetting the religious communities, working with religious leaders, working with traditional leaders, working with traditional healers, because when we have a conversations amongst ourselves and not with greater society as a whole, you are less likely to change some of the harmful norms that exist. However, when you've broadened in terms of your net, in terms of the people you're having conversations with, you are able to then have a broader conversation that will have an impact in changing society. So in terms of the app as well, one of the other things that we want to do is have a communication platform where we can engage on different topical issues like you have on your trending issues on your show. So in the same sense, have those conversations through the app. Also have a resource center where people can go into that space, get different information on different issues that they want to be challenged or engage with, as well as especially for small organizations, as well for youth-led organization or movements for that matter. They're able to go on the app and get different information in terms of how they can grow and build their movements. So we'll have the meaningful inclusive youth participation toolkit that just advises an organization, institution, and guides them in terms of how to ensure that youth voices are included in the work that they're doing. We have an unpaid care work position paper, which clears up one of the biggest issues that we have in society, which is unpaid care work. And you would have it there if you want to know more about what we are doing there, but also about equitable distribution of care and care work within the home. So what we're saying there is that also for us as men to help out in the home, not even to help out, but to take responsibilities in the home. It doesn't just sit with the woman. She comes back from work,
please
cleaning, she's taking care of the kids.
Emphasize on that.
So we also are playing a role in that space so that you don't have an imbalance within the relationship, and which then later on causes friction, and then you also have an LGBT issue at the end. So in terms of resources and tools there, what we are trying to do as well is talk to a few stakeholders to also use that as a platform where young people can go online, look for different work opportunities, employment opportunities, or other opportunities that might be available in that particular in the space. So what we are doing is that we are still engaging and agreeing with certain partners so that we can have those platforms in there. Another thing that we are working on, obviously we are not necessarily at the finality of this issue, is making it a zero-rated app. What we mean by zero-rated is that you don't actually need data to access the app or to utilize the app.
Oh my God, what the fly? We really need an app where we do not need data to use it.
Yes. So that's an ongoing discussion. I don't want people to kill me when it maybe.
That's Asekhona, where the dude said we're gonna have an app where we don't necessarily use data in it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that ngikhuluma ngaleyo nto.
So that's what we're doing. And another platform over there is that also it will allow for streaming through the app. There's quite a number of media publications that we'll be putting out. And through the app, you can stream quite a lot of material that will be there. So those are the things that we're currently working on as the Generation G network, as the Generation G South African coalition, in terms of the work we're doing. Yeah.
There you have it, guys. Generation Z, Generation Fly FM, taking you places, and on our show What the Fly, hosted by your girl Asekhona Ngwane. I'm flattered, Sakhile, you could be here today. Sizwile, guys, about the app. About the app. Where can you find the app?
Okay, so because we're still at testing phase, you won't be able to get it on Play Store or iOS, but it's so what I was trying to say in terms of testing is that we've got a link that we're using to download it on our different phones and things like that, because we're still testing with a certain select of people, so that they can give us feedback before we put it into market. Then it will be available on iOS. It will be available on the Play Store for Android. So it will be available. It's just that we're still in the testing phase. But the nice thing is that we are already live, which means we're using it on our phone. And if the testing phase is successful, then we should have the app probably by October. Sometime in October, it should be live, and we'll be doing the launch. And obviously, as I've said, we'll invite you guys, and we can be part of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. And this is all expect that invitation as the Fly FM, as the What the Fly with Asekhona Ngwane. And angizwanga ngedwa guys, nani benikhona ufakazi babi. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
High five.
Cool.
We out.